Welcome, and we'll get started for today. So we are going to start with our standard box or shape, whatever you draw, of course. I wanted to point out my little note in the top right corner here that our live class does meet from 5:30 to 6:30 now every Thursday. So to start this one, you're just going to draw some gradual arched lines. It shouldn't be anything too wicked or too crazy or too harsh. You just kind of want to draw a nice arched line. And then inside of each one, inside the set, you're going to just kind of block it off. It doesn't have to be super small. You don't want them to be too huge, but you can actually decide what you think looks good. You're actually going to color these in kind of checkerboardy, so every other one is going to be black, and then the other ones are going to be white. So just to kind of give you an idea. Now the second one I draw, I'm going to have a different arch on it in a different direction, perhaps, but I want to leave a gap in between. See how there's a small gap in between these two sets here? Of course, I'm going to add my lines here, but I'll show you the reason for that in just a second. So I'm going to start over on the left here. I have this little space. I'm just going to kind of draw a little line here. You don't have to worry about that. You may not have this little section. And then I'm going to put some little dots. When you draw your dots, you want to keep them in groups of threes or any kind of odd number. So not groups of threes. You just want to do an odd number. So actually through here, I'm going to squiggle a small one that has kind of a gradual wave on it. And I'm going to do 5 dots here, maybe 3 dots here, 1 dot here. You can mix and match. You can do them all threes. You can do 7 if you really want to go crazy and wild. But you want to have an odd number. So this one has 5. So now I'm going to repeat the same thing, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to just color in every other one. You can use a color here if you want to. You don't have to do black. You can do kind of a shadowing effect where the outside edges are darker than the center, kind of giving it more of a 3D rounded look. You can certainly do that as well. I'm just going to color mine in. So normally if I was going to be doing this just on my own for the calming effect of drawing or doodling, I'd continue on with that skinny Sharpie there, but we're going to the big guns for the sake of the video. So you can either pause it and just take your time and color them in, or you can always come back at the end and try it again. I'm just kidding, not try it again, finish what you started once you move on. So it's up to you. If you have a thicker marker, you can go ahead and use it. Otherwise, just keep doing what you're doing. Alright, so I'm going to continue on with the same process that I did for the original part there. I'm going to alternate how my lines go. You can have yours all be the same direction. Just make sure you leave a gap in between so you can get that extra wavy line. You don't want them so close that you can't fit any line in between there. So I'm just going to, well, look, I started out random, but it's kind of looking like these petal shapes. Throw on the opposite way here on the edge, but it doesn't really matter what it looks like, just have fun. And I'm going to go back and put the tick marks in just like I did with the other one. Alright, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to draw the wavy lines in between. Again, these should be random, whatever works for your space. If your striped lines are further apart, just go with that and make it as wild and crazy or as soothing as you'd like. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure that you're doing odd numbers of 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc. The eye seems to like odd numbers better. It doesn't really dig the kind of symmetry that comes from even numbers. I don't know why. It's just how it works. Alrighty, so this next one that we're going to draw is just kind of a piano thing, kind of a music, I don't know, background, whatever. So I'm going to draw a little bit bigger square here, but don't worry about making yours that large. So kind of right across the center, doesn't matter exactly where. Just going to draw kind of an arched line in here, and then I'm going to double that. Actually, I'm going to go on the top and I'm going to draw the vertical lines. Now these maybe are a little bit too close. Maybe when you're drawing yours, draw them a little bit further apart. And you'll see why in just a second. But they shouldn't be too far. Maybe a quarter inch, a little bit more, if you like measurements, something like that. And there's no limit to the number that you have. Just whatever your space allows for is fine. A little skinny one on the end there. Alright, so now I'm going to go on the bottom. It's probably about a quarter inch up from the bottom. I'm going to draw a little tick mark. Then I'm going to skip one. And I'm going to do 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip 1. And I'm going to do 2. This is just a line. Skip 1 and do 3. And then the last one I'll skip. So it goes 2, skip, 3, skip, 2, skip, 3, skip. And now I'm going to kind of just draw some lines from the top line down to the outside edge of each of these little tick marks. If you have a thicker marker, you can just go ahead and color this in. You don't have to necessarily draw these lines first, you can just go ahead and color. So you're basically creating the black keys of the piano. So you can see why you have to do that pattern of 2, 3, 2. And make sure you skip one in between. Otherwise, it won't look like a piano. Well, it might. Not a normal one anyway. If you draw them too close together, then there's not a lot of room to make them thick enough to look like keys. They kind of just look like these little slivers. So I'm going to go back, obviously, and color mine in black. You can do that at the end, or you can do it now. Whatever you want to do. Alright, so I'm going to go back to the skinny marker and I'm just going to do kind of a doubling up of the arch line. You can do this in the beginning too. I just really wasn't thinking ahead. So you're just going to double that up to make it look kind of like the keys are 3D. So now I'm going to go down below and you can have these sections as large or as small as you like. I'm going to draw basically sheet music here. So I'm just going to go straight across on the bottom, but I'm going to double this up because I want to color that in black. Again, you can modify this section however you want. If you don't like this sheet music type background, you can just fill it in with a bunch of notes. You can do another piano going another direction. You can add guitar strings. You can make it, you know, however musical you want it to be. I'm just going to kind of color these in, and then we'll go back to the sheet music there. Alright, so something just like that. Maybe I'll have a little skinny one right up here just to kind of keep my spacing accurate. You might not have this. Again, you may be doing something completely different, which is absolutely fine. So I'm going to go back to the skinny marker, and now I'm going to draw my lines in. So how you do that is you're going to start, I'm actually going to start on this bottom one since it's a full row. Draw one line straight down the center, and then you're going to take another line and you're going to draw right in half here. So you're basically going to divide this in half again, and the same on the bottom. And then my fourth and fifth line are basically those top and bottom ones that I originally drew, but because I colored it in, you can't see that it's there. So technically there's 5. You just can't quite see them all. So this bottom section, I think I'm only going to have like one line in here. So not really useful, but that's okay. Alright, so I think on this, I'm going to put it on this one. I'm going to draw a little treble clef. So you're going to start by going up straight, to the right, back to the left, cross over, and swoop back. So you can do that on a piece of practice paper if you want right away. And now I'm going to draw just little notes, and they can be an actual song if you want to copy some sheet music. If you're a musician, you can kind of just quickly write your own. I don't even know all the different notes that you can have anymore. I mean, I did in probably middle school, but I don't remember anymore. So I'm just going to make them up. Do these little quarter notes and all that stuff, eighth notes, and then the double notes. I can't remember what those are called. Anyway, just make it however cute you like. You can put these little dividers. I think they're called bars. I can't remember. But put those little dividers in there and just keep going. You can fill in all the different lines that you have with whatever you want. So this bottom section isn't really very useful. I think I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't think you'll see too many, but I'm going to go back on the edge of this key here, the keys, and just kind of put these little hatch marks. They're kind of like little teeny fill-in lines, I guess. I don't want it to be completely black because I already have my horizontal lines that are black, but it needs a little something, I think. So I'm just going to do these little teeny tiny lines that are really close together. Again, optional. Whatever you want to do there is fine. Alright, so now we're going to do the last one. This one can be a border, it can be some kind of divide that you have. We're going to draw another treble clef. So I'm going to loop down and I'm going to come straight up. And then I'm going to loop to the right a little bit, big booty on the left and then come back and circle through. So again, try that on practice paper. I want to draw this little rectangle here to the right and just going to fill it in with my little hatch marks again. I kind of like doing that. I don't know why. It's almost like an addiction. Alright, so now I'm just going to add my sheet music lines, and I'm going to do kind of a wavy pattern here. So I'm going to kind of start out low. The bottom I'm going to come up and make it kind of a skinny section. You can just do yours in a wave. You can have it straight across if that's what you are into. That's totally fine. And now I'm going to draw the lines in between. Again, I'm going to go right through the middle, so one right down the center. I have to kind of keep moving my hand over, so I have to let go. It's better to do it in one continuous line if you can. Something like that. And then go back up halfway between here. And it gets tricky when it gets small like this. Just take your time. And make sure they don't touch. And then come back out and do the same on the bottom. That one's really small. Maybe don't make it quite so skinny. Although it does look pretty cute, so I don't know, maybe go ahead. Alright, so something just like that. You can, again, you can have your straight across or whatever, just a solid wave, whatever you want to do. I think I'm going to go back here and just kind of thicken up my treble cleft a little bit. But again, this is something you can do at the end, but my pen is telling me to do it right now, so I'm going to do it right now. And not the entire thing is thicker, I'm just going to do thickness in certain sections here. And then kind of color them in. Just gives a little bit more dramatic flair to it. This is optional, of course, it's just something fun. So I'm going to swoop back down over here, make the booty even bigger. Kind of come up to fix that ear arch a little bit there. And then come around to the front. So something kind of like that. You can do that again whenever you have it. You could do it originally when you drew the cleft. It's up to you. So then I'm going to go back and I'm going to draw some little lines on it. These you can actually put in at the end or when you go ahead and put your notes in, because sometimes I've drawn this a couple times here and sometimes I have enough spacing to draw my actual notes and sometimes I don't. So music lines have these little pieces on them. It's just a straight line with two dots. I don't know what that's for, I'm sorry. And I'm going to draw my notes, which actually I was going to draw a heart and I just went ahead and drew a circle. So I messed up on this first one, but we'll just kind of make it work. And then I'm going to draw my little quarter note over here. I'm going to add this little detail on the side to make it look kind of 3D-ish. Just make it look like it's kind of popping off the page. So you can make this up. You can do whatever you want. You can write your own little song if you're an actual composer or somebody supposed to try. I'm actually doing the song At Last by Etta James. So I'm actually looking at something on the side here, which is why my hand keeps stopping. Make sure I get my notes in the right spot. But as I drew this, sometimes I had enough spacing and sometimes I didn't. So again, those little vertical bar sections, you can wait and kind of draw them in as you draw your notes if you're copying something else. It's up to you how you want to do it. And again, you can just make it up. You can just draw a bunch of random heart notes all over the place and do a little ditty. That way is fine. So this is one of those quad notes. I'm not sure what those are called. And don't worry about your lines on the top being straight. It's kind of just meant to be kind of a flowy love note type of thing. So you can make it look however you want. You can add color to these. Again, you can put words to it, however you want to do it. You can make it very, very cool. Just have fun with it. So that is our class. I know it's kind of music themed, but I hope that you enjoyed the patterns today. Don't forget that Zentangle Live is now happening from 5:30 to 6:30 every Thursday. You do have to call to register. Thanks for drawing with me, and have an excellent day.